Good morning, guys. Good Sunday morning to you. Just doing the morning smoke. My morning black raz. I think I'm going to do this morning video as a VR to Professor Walker. Who wants to know about our occupation? Or about a job that we found rewarding, or our time at work we just found really rewarding. First, let me shout out Newton Piper, okay? Looks like some of you already know him, but he popped up in my comments this morning, and I clicked on his icon, and I see that he has an intro vid up. Go check him out. So far, he's a very nice guy, and he has a very nice intro video. Alright, guys. I haven't worked since 2007. The end of 2007. So we're very close here to about 12 years of no work. And I've been on disability 8 of those years. 4 of those years, I don't know how I was doing it. I mean, I do, but crazy stuff. The last job I had was for Disneyland's travel agency. Is there a ghost following me? What is that? It's the reflection of my match. Anyways. Got my mini pot from Jordan, the Prairie Pipe Shop. Number 5 right here. With the sweet matching tamper, of course. There we go. I love this pipe. I love this pipe. Anyways, before my Disneyland travel agencies is a big story in itself. What a bizarre experience. What a bizarre experience working for Disney was. They're just strange. They really are. And that was a lesson in mind control, big time. Go watch a Roseanne episode called Springtime for David. Where David gets a job at Disneyland and they mind control him. A Disneyland type establishment, I should say. Which I find strange, seeing as how Disney owns ABC, Roseanne's network. But they allowed it. When Roseanne's episodes got kind of weird. But, before that, I guess there's probably some other little jobs in between there too. But back in 2005, I had what I consider my most rewarding position of employment, which was as an art therapist. Now, art therapists have degrees. I do not. But I was working at the art supply warehouse, just getting real bitter with retail, basically. And we had a dude that worked there whose dream it was to be a museum curator, okay? And he left the art supply warehouse to go work a new job, and I didn't really know what it was. And about a year later, he came back to art supply warehouse looking for me. And he said, "Matt, I have the perfect job for you." He said, "I've been working for a year at this place. I've got myself in here solid. He's like, you're the man that needs to take over my job. I know it's, I haven't seen you in a year, but this job just screams you, and I remember you, and I'm coming back to tell you, go apply for this job. And I did. And I wasn't totally sure what I was getting into. But basically it was what they call a day program. And I'm sure a lot of you know what a day program is for developmentally disabled adults. And I don't know what the proper terminologies are and stuff these days, but that's what it was then. Developmentally disabled adults. Down syndrome, autism, all kinds of mental retardation and learning disabilities and all kinds of diagnosis. And they were real happy to see me when I came in, because I'm a 6 foot tall, pretty big dude that can draw and paint and has a fairly patient and nice disposition. Now in 2005, keep in mind that I looked like a werewolf. I mean, I was very close to 30, but I was still full on punk rocking it. And but this place took a chance on me, and they hired me. And this day program wasn't your average day program. It was actually based around art and music and other stuff too, artistic stuff. They had dance classes, all kinds of stuff. And basically I was hired for my art skills and for my size, and I guess my disposition just seemed right. When I walked up to that place, there was howls, screams, weird laughter, crying coming out of the building. And I was not sure what I was getting myself into. I went up there real confident, and as soon as I heard all that noise outside, my confidence it started to go down. I've handled some mighty crazy situations in my day. And I don't know what I was worried about so much. But I think I thought it was going to be a horror show when I walked in there, and I was going to be real sad about it. But that was not the case. Not the case at all. And they gave me a quick tour through the place and signed me up. And I quit my job at Art Supply Warehouse. Same pay. Just going to be a change of scenery, a little closer to my house. I was there a total of like 14 months. And unfortunately, a torrid love affair with the music therapist girl got me fired. But I'll leave that side of the story out of it, kind of. Some people don't like to hear about it. And I understand, for sure. Anyways, we had about 50, maybe 40 clients, they call them. And they tended to take on higher functioning clients. There were a few people that required a little more assistance, diapers and stuff like that. I never had to do any of that. There were other aides there to do that. Experienced ones, you know. I did have to take CPR and management of assaultive behavior, it was called. Which is being able to take down a guy who's attacking everybody without hurting him. And wrestling, man, come on. Had that in the bag, and I had to use it many times. But we had quite the cast of characters in our clientele. And basically my job was to teach 5 classes a day. 5 art classes a day. And sometimes it wasn't always that. Sometimes they would want me to sit in with a female staff and make sure everything in their class went okay, depending on who was in their class. I was also expected to help check everybody in the morning, make sure everyone ate their lunch and was cool at lunch, and got out and home okay. We had a driver that picked up and dropped off a lot of the students. I like students better than clients. I always did. But we had some characters. My favorite was a kid named Andrew. And he looked like an evil Alfred E. Newman. But he had this cool haircut with a little widow's peak. And he wore a leather jacket. He was almost like a little Dracula. But he had a big Alfred E. Newman Mad Magazine smile with a big gap in his teeth. He was a Hispanic kid. And his story was that he was rescued from a cage in Mexico, where his family was keeping him and burning him with cigarettes inside the cage. People, man. Anyways, Andrew was what they called an eloper. And sometimes out of nowhere, he would get mad, or even sometimes not get mad, and just bolt. And he would go straight for the street, the most direct route to the street, which was Magnolia, a busy street. And, you know, we had some grass in between the building and the street, man. And, you know, I'm disabled. You know, I was a little more able back then. But chasing Andrew was not easy. And he was my favorite. He really was. And we also had a few clients that they would take days off sometimes to go on auditions. And they were doing the Hollywood thing. And kind of the reason I'm making this video this morning is because I watched a documentary last night called Kelly's Hollywood, about a Down syndrome girl whose dream it was to go to Hollywood. And her older brother was going on auditions and stuff, moved away to Hollywood, and she wanted, you know, they missed each other, and he brought her out there. And very cute movie, you know, all that. But it reminded me a lot of this job I used to have. We also had a celebrity kid, which I think it's okay for me to talk about it now. I was not allowed to talk about it then. But we had a kid named Sergio, and he had a fake last name, and I'll go ahead and, for all I know, he still uses that fake last name in a program, so I'll leave it at that. But Sergio Stallone is his real name. And he is Sylvester Stallone's son. He was 22 at the time. Him and Andrew were my youngest clients. And I was often in charge of both of them. And Sergio was a very, very interesting kid. He looked a lot like his dad, but soft. A very soft version of his dad, with kind of a scared look on his face. He was obsessed with Gumby and Ariel, who I can draw from memory, both of them, very, very quickly. And when he would really freak out, I could get a piece of paper, whip out a quick Ariel, give him some crayons, and he would color. Purple crayon first. You guys know what that means. And then other times I would get a roll of paper and just roll it on the floor. And I would draw like a 10-foot tall Gumby real quick. Give him a couple green crayons. Say, there you go, Serge. Calm down, buddy. And you'd sit there for hours just coloring green. Giant green Gumby. Another one of my favorites was a guy named Mike, who was a college football hero. A tragic car accident. He was struck by a car. Left him with a brain injury. He was a giant little boy. And oftentimes I could hear a ruckus and know that I was going to look over and see furniture flying. He's a very frustrated guy, but he's a very nice guy. And he smoked cigarettes. He was the only guy there that smoked cigarettes, the only client. And part of my job was to take Mike out for his cigarette breaks, which was cool. Me and Mike had many a good smoke together. He was always in love with one of the staff, if not all the female staff. I had 2 really nice Christmases there. And it's just the job. This video is going to cut off if I let it go too long. 22 minutes is where it cut off last night, so I'll try to wrap this up. But that job was the best job I've ever had. You know, I paid $10.50 an hour or something like that. Whatever. One of my higher paying jobs. But it wasn't retail. It was something real, and it was very rewarding. I had a class every day of 4 blind guys that I had to teach to paint. And that was a challenge. And it was fun. It was very, very fun. It was also my job to organize art shows and sell these people's art. And we also had at a farmer's market a table once a month that I would go set up in Anaheim near Disneyland. We would sell their art and their ceramics and all kinds of stuff. My big plan was to organize a comic book and give everybody a job, and we were going to make a comic book, and it was going to be great. And then I got let go. And the fact of the matter is I was better than everybody at that job. And I didn't have a degree, and people didn't like it. They were making $50 an hour, those people with degrees, while I made 10. And I showed them up every day. And I didn't mean to. I was just naturally easygoing, patient, and willing. And I'll never forget that place. I used to daydream about hitting it rich someday and just buying a hotel or a mansion and just letting that whole group live with me there with the staff, you know. Sometimes I think about trying to go volunteer somewhere. I was never able to get another job like that without any kind of degree or anything, and that's too bad, because I was good at it. I really was. And I came to work feeling good about work, and I went home feeling good about work. And I had never had that before, and I never had it again, really. It's not totally true, but I mean, every job I had left me feeling bitter eventually. Mistreated, abused, unappreciated. Just retail jobs. Anyways, maybe I'll talk more about the place one day. I'm gonna go before my video cuts off. Thank you so much, Professor Walker, for the cool and the cool topic for me to make a video about. everybody have a real good day, and I imagine I might be back today. I'm not going to club today, so I'm definitely going to be having some pipes at home. Love you, everybody.